Good morning, my neighbors! Happy Friday, April 21st, 2023. Thank you guys so much for tuning into Loud Majority Live. Got a big show for you guys today. We're going to be talking Kathy Hochul's budget. Apparently, her plan to destroy the suburbs may not be happening. Also, New York City decided it was going to celebrate 420, a holiday that doesn't exist and that stopped being funny when you were like 22. And we're going to talk about these speed cameras on Long Island because there are two kinds of people out there, okay? And I'm not sure which one of them you are. There are smart people out there who realize that, hey, this could be a serious problem. And then there are stupid people who are like, well, just don't speed through a work zone and you'll be okay. Yeah, okay. We'll get to that in just a minute. But before we get started, guys, head on over to loudmajorityusa.com. Sign up for the newsletter. Check out the shop. You guys can use promo code LFA for 20% off everything at checkout. You guys can pick up our brand new Donald Trump Did Nothing Wrong t-shirts. Very excited about that. Very excited about those. People are definitely liking those. That's the Donald Trump Did Nothing Wrong shirts. Couple quick announcements before we dive into all the stories. Of course, make sure you guys are hitting that like button. Keep sharing the video out. If you're on Rumble, hit the Rumble button. If you're new to the page, hit that follow button right underneath the video. It's the best way to support this channel. Help the channel grow bigger and better every day. We are just short of 3,000 on Rumble. Super excited about that. Also, guys, look, I'm way too busy. I'm way too busy to eat healthy. Then that's why I started taking Field of Greens, guys. Field of Greens is, I'll be honest with you, guys, I've been on this stuff for about 3 weeks now, and I feel absolutely spectacular. I don't have time to eat right. I'm running around all over the place. Street fairs, school board meetings, this, that, the third. I'm everywhere. So I make sure that I keep myself healthy with Field of Greens. Every fruit and vegetable in Field of Greens is specifically chosen for heart, liver, and kidney function. It also helps boost your metabolism. Guys, take the Field of Greens challenge with me today. And if you're at your next doctor's visit, your doctor doesn't say something along the lines of, wow, whatever you're doing, keep it up, Field of Greens will issue you guys a free refund. A full refund, excuse me. Head on over to fieldofgreens.com, promo code Kevin. That's fieldofgreens.com, promo code Kevin for 15% off your first order. That's fieldofgreens.com, promo code Kevin. Take the Field of Greens challenge with me today. And I'm going to be honest. You know, all these shakes always seem like they taste like crap. These actually taste really good. What the hell do I got today? I got the strawberry lemonade. This one's really good. I like that a lot. And then the green one kind of tastes a little bit like a yellow Gatorade. The lemon lime. So, guys, take the Field of Greens challenge with me today at fieldofgreens.com, promo code Kevin. All right, so let's dive right into this. Also, at the end of the show, I'm going to be letting you guys know we got a new sponsor of the show, and I'm super excited about him. So don't buy any pillows just yet. Don't buy any pillows just yet. Let me see, what do we got here? Yes. Here we go. Apparently the momentum is growing up in Albany to complete a budget deal, but Kathy Hochul's housing plan is not a part of it. Because nothing says I'm a powerful governor like not being able to control the two houses of your state legislature that you are in vast control over. Apparently, Carl Hastings and Andrea Stewart Cousins are telling Kathy Hochul's housing plan to kick rocks. After weeks of a stalemate over a fight over judicial nominees. There's momentum to close out a state budget package, lawmakers and officials said. Some envision Kathy Hochul and legislative leaders reaching a deal in the next few days, possibly on Sunday or at least before the legislators return to the state capitol on Monday. Legislators could begin voting on budget bills later this week. And while the details haven't been finalized, it appears suburban Democrats are poised to knock down two Kathy Hochul initiatives they opposed. The housing mandate that would allow states to override local zoning regulations and a hike in the payroll tax to fund mass transit. Thank God. Look, I don't like Democrats. I don't want Democrats. However, let me say, these are the two pieces of this budget proposal that is going to impact your lives more than anything else. So what were these two proposals? One was the state overriding of local zoning. So basically, Kathy Hochul wants to build more affordable housing, even though it's not a real thing, like assault rifle. It's just a made-up term, or trickle-down economics. It's just a made-up term that idiot liberals came up with to try to make things sound good. Turns out, sandwiches are great. Shit sandwiches are not so great. And that's exactly what this local zoning restriction would have been. So, Kathy Hochul wanted local municipalities to put up housing units in their communities. Shockingly enough, you'll never guess where she wanted the majority of the housing to go. In Westchester, Suffolk, and Nassau County. It's almost like she's punishing us for not voting for her. Of course she is. But suburban Democrats are saying no thank you. So what would have happened was, if your local municipality didn't meet the state goal on new housing units built after a certain time period, Kathy Hochul would have stepped in and said, okay, then we'll just do it. See, that's what they do. They claim to give people local authority over their lives, and then if they don't do what we want, we'll just do it anyway. That's not local control. That's do what I want or I'm going to make you do it. That's slavery. Exactly. I said it. So that regulation may be knocked down. Also, an increase in the payroll tax to fund mass transit. Now, why would you force Long Island businesses, upstate New York businesses, to pay a higher payroll tax in order to fund the MTA? Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Oh, right. That way the MTA continues to endorse you, continues to donate to your campaign, continues to get Democrats elected. See, the reason why the MTA is facing a shortfall right now is two reasons. One, no one wants to ride the subway because no one wants to watch a homeless man take a crap in a clear plastic bag. Nobody wants to wait on a subway platform because they don't want to be pushed in front of the train. Nobody wants to be down in the subway at night running the risk of being jumped by a crazed person that your dumbass DAs let out of jail. So people are staying above ground. They're taking Ubers. They're taking taxis, or they're definitely not walking. If you've been to Manhattan recently, you know that there ain't a damn person walking in that city. I'm allowed to say that. I'm a member of that oppressed community. A lot of fatties in New York these days. A lot of fatties. Like they walk one avenue and then they stop for a hot dog every single time. But there's another reason why mass transit, the MTA, the Long Island Railroad, Metro North, well, Metro North is federal, so that might not count. But particularly the MTA and the Long Island Railroad are facing budget shortfalls. And it's because they promised people too much. Work 20 years, get a pension for 40 years. That math doesn't add up. Then what happens? Then they cut back on jobs. They cut back on jobs. They fire people for not taking the medicine they want them to take. Now there's less people paying into the system. Less people paying into the system with a generation of boomers who are all leaving the system at the exact same time. See, we need to get over the fact, over the hump here. Because my parents' generation, I'm 33 years old, my parents' generation, I'm sure a lot of you are in it, there are just too many of you. And you guys didn't have enough kids. Thus, mathematically, not morally, mathematically, the pension systems don't work. I use the example of my dad all the time. He was a cop on the Triborough Bridge for 20 years. He gets a pension, as most city workers do. However, when they put Easy Pass in, they never replaced those jobs. Thus, less people are paying into the system. That Easy Pass doesn't go to the Bridge and Tunnel Authority. That Easy Pass you pay goes directly to the city. The MTA is no different. The only way the MTA can raise any sort of money is through either job cuts, pension reductions, or fare hikes. And the least painful option of those is job cuts. So, When they cut those jobs, there are then less people paying into the pension system. So Kathy Hochul has decided, you know what we'll do? Instead of doing the fiscally responsible thing and locking up criminals so that people feel safe again riding the subways or raising the fare on the bus, we're going to tax businesses that have nothing to do with the MDA, nothing to do with the MTA. You own a deli in Port Jeff? You own a salon in Syracuse? You're going to be paying higher payroll taxes so that she can fund the mass transit of her voters. Don't like it? Should have voted for Kathy Hochul, I guess. Nothing says political retribution like the raising of tax. And what she'll say is, no, we're just taxing the big businesses, the 1%. But we all know that isn't true. Yes, big business will face this, but so will small businesses. But Kathy Hochul has never accomplished anything in her life. I say this on a regular basis. That 99% of politicians, all they are people that wanted to get into business but weren't smart enough to do it. She's never run a business in her entire life. So she doesn't know the plight of the average small business owner. You own a pizza place or a deli or a salon or a bar or a restaurant. Your payroll taxes are about to go up to pay for the subway in Manhattan. But that's what Democrats do. They rob from Peter to pay Paul. That's it. Instead of just lowering the cost of things. Maybe if you lowered the fares, made the subways safer, you would get more revenue in because more people would utilize your system. Instead, they're taking Ubers upstairs. Why? Because Ubers are safe. But being that Kathy Hochul is from Buffalo and has absolutely no idea of the life of the average person in Brooklyn, she then just moves right the hell on. She moves right the hell on. Multiple sources say that the final budget deal will likely contain no major housing initiatives. Hochul wanted a 3% growth in housing stock downstate every 3 years with a mechanism to override local zoning regulations if communities failed to meet their goals. It ran into strong opposition from suburban legislators across party lines. So she wanted 3% housing increases every year for the next 3 years. Well, someone ought to tell Kathy Hochul, why would we build housing units when everyone is running away from your state? It would be more financially advantageous for people to build housing units for New Yorkers in South Carolina, in Florida, in Tennessee, considering that's where all the people are going. Instead, what did she want to do? If you're from Long Island, you'll understand this. She wanted to knock down the Kings Park Psych Center, knock down Pilgrim State, knock down the Massapequa Mall, and put up housing units there. No, thank you. No, thank you at all. So apparently that's not going to be in the budget. Her administration floated the idea of jumpstarting, quote, 421A, a controversial program that provides incentives for building developers, but hit a wall when some progressive lawmakers wanted to tie it to, quote, good cause eviction, a pro-tenant measure that makes evictions harder, multiple sources said. Oh, so she wants to get ready for this. She wants people to build in New York, but her progressive left wants to make it harder for those landlords to evict people for not paying their bills. If you're a builder, why the hell would you ever build in New York? Why would you ever build in New York? You get somebody in there that pay the first 2 months rent, and then they get to live for the next year for free? No. Also, the governor was looking for a way to help the financially troubled Metropolitan Transit Authority with the MTA mobility tax for companies in the highest payroll bracket in the downstate region. Under the most recent discussion, the tax hike would apply just to companies in New York City and suburban counties. Multiple sources say, oh shit, where did it go? There we go. So naturally, Kathy Hochul doesn't give a damn about the downstate all she cares because she doesn't live down here. And that's what happens when you have, look, if you're from upstate New York, I love you to death. But that's what happens when you have some country bumpkin coming down and running the big city. It's just what happens. In addition, legislators would not agree to raise tuition for state residents who attend the state university campuses, but could hike it for out-of-state residents. Things are narrowing down and issues are being closed down or falling off the table, one lawmaker said after a closed-door session with rank-and-file legislators. That's great. It's great to know. At issue is the state's budget that is expected to come in north of $230 billion. And it's going to be 3 weeks late. $230 billion for the New York state budget. Are you kidding me right now? Florida's got 1 million more people than we do, and their budget is half of what New York's is. Moreover, they don't pay a state income tax. But that's the difference between freedom and top-down authoritarianism. Governor Eyebrows thinks that she knows best, when really, not only does she not know best, but she actually knows very little to begin with. She knows very little to begin with. Before we get to the next story, guys, make sure you're hitting that Rumble button. That's a thumbs up at the bottom of the page. Hit that follow button right underneath the video if you're watching on Facebook. Hit that like button. Keep sharing this video out into all your groups. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. It's so odd. It's so odd when I think about how New York State operates these days. Is she Cuomo's sister? She acts like him, dumb as a box of rocks. Yep. Noah, did you move to Florida? I'm looking at the live chat right now. Let's see. Let's see who we got in here. Regina's in here. Keith's in here. How you doing, everybody? Elizabeth Byrne. Because Suffolk County has a huge homeless population. Okay, then do what red states do. Put them in shelters. You think homeless people are going to be able to afford to live at the Avalon? Come on. You can't build new housing units in the state of New York, in the downstate, from less than $3,000 a month. And if you do, half of it's going to be Section 8 housing. And if you're living across the street from a guy paying $500 a month, and you're paying $3,500 a month, that could lead to some tension between neighbors. And nothing says good neighbors like strong walls. Someone ought to tell that to Mexico. Well, I want to talk about what the state of New York also did yesterday, because obviously yesterday, as we all know, for anybody who went to college, for anybody who went to college, yesterday was 420. So for all the stoners out there, congratulations, you had your holiday. And New York decided to celebrate that in a very odd way by saying, Happy 420, New York. Together we are creating a greener future and for safe and legal adult cannabis. This is coming from the Office of Cannabis Management. I do think that this is so popular. It's so popular that if you look at the very bottom of this tweet, almost 4,100 people saw it and only 29 people liked it. But that's what New York does. It puts policies in play that no one seems to care about, that nobody seems to care about. The owners and operators of the new New York City cannabis market are our neighbors, and with every purchase, you are supporting them in communities they serve. Check out the Office of Cannabis Management Guide to New York adult use dispensaries to learn more. Now, of course, where did they put these dispensaries? Do you think they put them down in the financial district? No. Do you think they put them in, Port Washington? No. Did they put them in Chappaqua, where Hillary Clinton lives? No. No, they put them in black neighborhoods. They put them in the poorest neighborhoods. Why? To keep blacks and Hispanics on the Democratic plantation, in the words of Candace Owens. Because it turns out when you're stoned as hell, you don't want to work. I got into a bit of a tiff the other day with the cousin of mine, who came home from work and he was so exhausted. He's 25 years old. Works in a warehouse. So he slept all day. What was my answer? Smoke slightly less weed, and then maybe you'll be less tired. Just going off, just having a brain melting moment here. Smoke slightly less weed, and then maybe, and look, you want to smoke weed, have a party. I don't really care. I think it should be legal. However, maybe not celebrated. Just think about any other consumable substance. Imagine the New York State Liquor Authority on St. Patrick's Day put out a tweet going, hey guys, I know you're all going to be totally shit-faced today, but make sure you do it locally so that you support local businesses. Everybody be what? What? It's very odd. And like I said, I'm pro-pot legalization. I'm one of the few on the right who are. And I get a lot of crap about it. But maybe we should treat it the same way we treat alcohol. Like you can't be drinking a 40 while walking down the street. I don't know if any of you have been to Manhattan recently, but the minute you get off the train and walk upstairs to Penn Station, you are immediately stoned. It's very good that Rosa's Pizza is right across the street from Penn Station, because the minute you walk out onto 7th Avenue, you're high as a kite. Go stop, get some pizza, very delicious. But that's what New York State finds important. One more thing they're finding important, and look, I'm going to get so much crap for this. And I don't really care, because there are small-minded people, and then there are people who see the big picture. Small-minded people will say, why are you mad about speed cameras? Just don't drive so fast. People who see the bigger picture will go, oh, something's happening here. And I don't know, hopefully this article will tell us which body approved these speed cameras being on our highways. And I hope it's not the Suffolk County Legislature. That would suck for them. But speed cameras on white Jeep Cherokee SUVs were deployed in construction zones across Long Island highways on Wednesday. The trigger for a ticket, driving 10 miles an hour or more over the speed limit according to state law. Violation monitoring systems were active on Wednesday on the Long Island Expressway, Meadowbrook Parkway, Sunrise Highway, Northern State, and Southern State. Okay, so this didn't come from Suffolk County. This came from the state. Of course it did. I wonder if this did come from the state. The Department of Transportation said 30 mobile units will take photos of speeding motorists on state highways, but drivers must hit an established speed over the limit first. If you're speeding, you're speeding. In the beginning, it's probably just going to be 10 miles over. Richard Cushion, the DOT's Long Island Regional Director, told Newsday at a press conference promoting the National Work Zone Awareness Week. Really? What the hell? National Work Zone Awareness Week? Come on, guys. Really? The DOT is not authorizing anyone to go a specific number over the limit. Construction zone speeding limits vary by location and type of job. So, 19 of these will be distributed all over Long Island, coming from Albany, coming from the State Department of Transportation. I wonder if any of these will be on, I don't know, Route 9. Is that Route 9? The one that goes into Binghamton that doesn't end? Dana, if you're in the chat, let me know which one I'm talking about. Or 6, whatever the hell it is. I wonder if it'll be on the Taconic. Or on 87, going up to Albany. I wonder if it'll be there. Or is this just another way to punish Long Islanders, Governor Hochul? You want to build housing units, yet you're doing everything in your power to get Long Islanders to leave our island. A certain kind of Long Islander, I suspect. Because if you punish the areas that didn't vote for you, the voters then leave. then you can then consolidate power. For the first 30 days, speeding drivers will catch a break with only warnings in the mail. But after that grace period ends, fines will start at $50, escalate to $75 for the second, $100 for the third, and $100 fines for all additional tickets within 18 months of the first violation. Drivers will not be issued any points on their license, thank God. This is the state's first speed camera program on highway construction zones, enacted under a bill signed last year by Governor Hochul, intended to protect workers in the field from work and car accidents. Of course, she starts it out on Long Island, because why start it out on a major state road? It's just punishment. Vote for Democrats or you will be punished. Vote for Democrats or you will be punished. That's the governor's way. That's how she does things. It's going to cause accidents. You're right, Janet. People are going to slam on their brakes the minute they see one of these work zones. Someone's going to get rear-ended, car's going to flip over, go into the work zone and kill even more people. But these are Democrats. These are Democrats, and they really don't care. They really do not care about sanity or anything like that. One thing I did want to talk about, I want to introduce you guys real quick to a new sponsor of the show before we get to the very end. I want to talk about Waco, Texas. Yesterday was obviously 30 years since the siege at Waco, where we saw maybe the greatest example of government overreach in American history. But, guys, we see that Bud Light, Disney, BuzzFeed, Silicon Valley Bank, they're falling under the get woke, go broke mantra. Well, I want to introduce you guys to a new sponsor of the show, eGuard Watches. eGuard Watches, they are absolutely fantastic. I just bought one the other day, and I'm very proud that they are sponsors of the show because they are willing to put out ads like this one.
When I was a little girl, I had this dream that seemed so impossible. I was going to be the fastest runner in the world.
It will be a new world record.
I got this little nugget of an idea from my dad. He used to watch me run and say, "Ain't no woman alive that can beat you." And I believed him. He made me feel invincible. It wasn't easy. I trained hard, harder than anyone else I know. But I was made for this. I was an unstoppable force, a life dedicated to perfection. But even perfection wouldn't be enough.
You know, there's so many companies out there that are dealing with the get woke, go broke mantra. So it's so nice to be able to sponsor a company. I put it in the chat. If you guys want to check it out, it's eGuardWatches.com/loudmajority, guys. Support the people who support this show. You guys can use promo code LOUD at checkout. You know what? We need to start building our separate economy, building our separate worlds, because quite frankly, too many of these companies are sitting there and they're, you know, they hate you, they hate your values, they hate what you stand for, but then they want your money. Like Disney. We talked about it yesterday on LFA TV, rumble.com/LFA TV. Please go subscribe over there for the 1 o'clock show. We talked about how Disney is laying off workers left and right. We talked about Bud Light losing its so much market cap. Now I've got a story coming out this afternoon about how Bud Light is down even more than people think. Apparently they saw a 10% sales decline in just 1 week. And I'm curious to see what week 2 of the boycott will lead to. It's time for us to start supporting companies that support our values and support reality. So, guys, please go to eGuard Watches. That's EGARD Watches.com. Promo code LOUD to support the people who support this network. We got Father's Day coming up. They got a lot of great stuff over there. Great quality watches. Please do go and support them. So, obviously, yesterday, April 20th, was the 30th anniversary of the siege at Waco. As I said before, the biggest government overreach in American history. I mean, 82 Branch Davidians were killed, including 28 children, 2 pregnant women, all because the FBI was too afraid to arrest one guy. And I am not defending David Koresh. I think he was a terrible person. He was obviously sleeping with teenage girls and doing all sorts of nonsense. However, what went on at Waco in that 51-day siege was one of the worst things I've ever seen in American history. For those of you who don't remember, here's a little recap.
If you fly low over North Texas today, it's easy to pass right over the site of one of the most horrific events in recent American history. A 51-day siege by U.S. law enforcement, with deadly gun battles, terror from the air, and a raging inferno that left more than 75 people dead, including many women and children. This is what the site of the infamous Waco siege looks like now. These ducks are swimming in what was once the basement of a sprawling compound ruled over by a man named David Koresh, who called himself the Messiah. His followers, a breakaway group of Adventist Christians known as the Branch Davidians. They believed that the second coming of Christ was imminent and lived quietly here on this bend of road just outside the town of Waco. For years, they remained under the radar, surrounded by Texas farms and fields. But in 1993, stories started spreading that Koresh was sexually abusing young girls and that the group was stockpiling illegal weapons. So the U.S. government decided to take action. On February 28, 1993, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms raided the compound. The Branch Davidians responded with gunfire and quickly killed 4 agents. Inside the buildings, Koresh and his followers hunkered down, refusing to surrender. The siege continued for 51 days before coming to a terrifying end. On April 19th, the FBI tried to force the Branch Davidians out with tear gas, but the compound suddenly erupted into flames. Within an hour, it had burned to the ground. Inside, at least 76 men, women, and children were dead. Koresh's body was found with bullet wounds. The underground bunkers Koresh and his followers used have since been plowed under. Crumbling foundations and a swimming pool are all that remain. Today, a new group of Davidians called simply Branch lives here. They've constructed new homes and a church near where the old compound once stood. Some members of the original church who survived the siege still believe David Koresh and his followers who died will be resurrected.
And that's really it. So, obviously, I'm not defending David Koresh. I think he should have been locked up. But, you know what? That's proof positive that you don't handle things like that. And you know what? It's so interesting that now, even 30 years later, we're starting to see calls to defund organizations like the ATF, to defund organizations like the FBI and start them out from scratch. Matt Gaetz is talking about that. We've seen the abuse of government throughout the last couple of years, throughout the last couple of decades. Obviously, we all know that started with Ruby Ridge, where the ATF decided to kill half of a family for basically no reason at all. So much so that they had to pay out a settlement to the daughter. I keep forgetting the daughter's name of the Weaver family, but that's what you get. That's what you get when you step out of line and the government seems to not like you or your views. I'm not saying I like David Koresh. I don't, I think anytime somebody claims to be the son of God, maybe you want to just chill for a little bit. But, look, whether on purpose or by accident, it seems fairly obvious the government killed those people. Even if David Koresh set the fire himself. After 51 days in there with no heat, no running water, no nothing, and then to put CSV gas inside of the building, that could not have gone any worse. It could not have been done any worse. The situation couldn't have been handled worse by the ATF and the FBI. And actually, I'm reading the book on Waco right now. And it was written by David Thibodeau. We'll see. I'm trying to get him on the show. That'd be pretty cool. But guys, we're about to wrap up here. I want to thank everybody so much for tuning in. I'll see everybody at 1 o'clock. Rumble.com/LFATV. That's rumble.com/LFATV. Boom. Guys, head on over there. Hit the subscribe button. Stay tuned at 1 o'clock. I got a big show. We're going to talk about Robert Kennedy Jr. Joining the presidential race and how I think that's going to be a bit more of a problem for Joe Biden than he wants to believe. Also, guys, head on over to loudmajorityusa.com, loudmajorityusa.com. Sign up for the newsletter. Check out the shop. We have all new stuff over there. All new stuff. So I want to thank you guys so much. That's the best way to support this show. I know some people have already gotten their zip-up hoodies. Everybody's been wanting zip-up hoodies for 2 years. So, I finally was able to get those in. They're over there on the website, loudmajorityusa.com. If I don't see you back at 1 o'clock, maybe I'll see you tomorrow at the Belmore Street Fair if the weather holds up from 10 to 6 in Belmore. I'll see you guys over there. If not, enjoy your weekend. And until Monday, everybody, stay loud.